John Hain, and my wife Stephanie Rierick and I decided to host a fundraiser and party for Ben Manski for State Assembly. We're over on the east side and recognize that even though we can't have the privilege and joy of voting for Ben in the election, we could help raise money for his campaign and generate enthusiasm and hopefully some extra volunteers.
So why don't you tell me about this spread? What stuff is and where it came from? Did you make all this?
Most of it. Tomatillo salsa, and John made this and grew the tomatillos and probably the peppers.
And is this from the Mother Fool's garden?
Yeah, the tomatillos are. Yes, it is from the garden outside Mother Fool's. And that's some bean dip out of some mix that John got from the co-op.
Nice.
Some baby red potatoes that I bought from this old man who drives by with potatoes and pumpkins each year on the block.
Those look great. So then what did you do to the potatoes? What did you put in them?
I scooped out the insides and smashed them up with some vegan sour cream and spices and salt. Put a pecan on some of them, some dill.
Is this something you've done before, or is this something you came up with for tonight?
I did something like it before. I made it up both times. It's a little bit different. It came out better this time.
It's really kind of cool looking. I didn't taste one yet.
There's like vegan deviled eggs.
So Ben, you're running for state assembly.
That's right.
And your district is which district?
District 77 is a very large district, so it goes from the first block of State Street over by campus all the way into southeast Middleton, and then once you get out to Whitney Way, it actually heads south past the Beltline. So it's a big L shape, and it's got the UW-Madison campus in it. I know John and Stephanie in particular, because all of us were canvassers at some point for Greenpeace, and then later I worked for another environmental group here in town. So those skills have come in handy, but the reality is that all the volunteers that we have on this campaign have really made it possible, because I couldn't possibly reach out to everybody individually as much as I might want to.
What's your history of running for office?
Well, actually, I don't have a long history of running for office. My work in the progressive movement has primarily been as an activist, as an organizer, as an attorney. I'm 5 years out of law school, and I practiced public interest law. I spent most of my life in District 77. My values were formed there, and I know that people around Wisconsin have always looked to the state representative from the near west side and west side of Madison for leadership statewide. And I thought we could end up with somebody representing this district who would be a major step back. In other words, we would lose an advocate in the state legislature.
So you were talking about the stuff that the money is going towards, and it's primarily like TV and radio ads.
The most expensive element is a mailing. So, for example, to do one district-wide mailing costs us about $6,000.
That costs more than buying an ad on the radio?
Oh yeah, radio ads might be $8 a piece. And then if you're looking at, and that's for a 30-second ad, and then if you're looking at television,
$8?
$8, just $8.
Is that for like political ads, like a discounted rate or something?
They are discounted, as all the advertising people say. The politicians make the laws, so they made it cheaper for themselves, and now I'm maybe participating in that. And so we're on Maddow and Olbermann and so on, and no surprise, we've been hearing from people in the district that they've been seeing it, because that's what people watch in the west side of Madison.
Right, so how much do those TV ads cost?
$30 a piece. So it's still not that bad, yeah. Sarah, my wife, and I are definitely not wealthy people. We are like most people who are Gen X and Gen Y. We don't have savings. We have a massive amount of student debt. So it was a very, very difficult decision to make to get into this race, what we knew would be an uphill battle. Up at 5 a.m., working until 1 or 2 in the morning. And I've worked on gubernatorial campaigns for Democrats and Greens, and I've worked on U.S. Senate campaigns. I worked on Russ Feingold's campaign his first time out, and I've worked on presidential campaigns, quite a few of them, actually, again, both Democrats and Greens. And those guys keep up an impossible schedule. So the only difference between me and most of them is that in the case of some of the major party candidates, I know that a lot of them take a lot of stimulants and drugs, honestly, to stay sane. They have to.
Do you guys have a lot of parties here?
No.
Because I know I haven't really been invited.
Good question. No, we we redid our kitchen recently though.
Oh, can you take me on a tour
Sure,
there?
we can take you on a tour. All the cupboards are made from old windows. Oh, and here's the slickest part. It's full of stuff right now because we were cooking for the party, but this is our dish rack. On here.
Oh.
Yeah, we found that we were looking for some sort of wall-mounted rack and saw online that in Finland it's really popular to put your dish rack over your sink.
So-
These are recycled glass tiles from eco-friendly flooring.
What's your favorite part of the new kitchen?
The implication was
I really like how much Stephanie enjoys doing dishes with that new dish rack.
Over the fridge is an old bike wheel.
have vague memories.
Hot rack.
No, I don't
Uh-huh.
have vague memories.
That's
John
ingenious.
For me, actually, I think the main thing that's keeping me going is just the adrenaline of all the volunteers and the friends and people who have come out from, first of all, around Wisconsin, people I went to high school with, and then above all, my wife, who's been in there day in and day out with me, and we're sort of a strong team.
So what are some things that you guys have been missing the opportunity to do during the campaign that you look forward to getting back to being?
I miss cooking and eating a
cooking.
square meal,
Right.
or even a circular one. I miss getting sleep. I think our dog misses getting long walks, which she used to get several times a day. And
We have actually quite a big staff. It's gotten to be. So when we have campaign meetings, we have like 8 people around the table, 8 real core people, like a campaign manager, somebody to take care of the farmers markets.
volunteer coordinator,
Yeah.
we have a treasurer, bookkeeper, events coordinator, house parties
Communications
coordinator,
director.
communications director. You know, the thing that surprises candidates, I think, a lot of the time when they're just starting out, especially those who have not worked on a lot of campaigns before, is the degree to which the candidate becomes an icon. And people start to, when you're an icon, people assign values to you. And it doesn't really matter who you are. You just come to represent things to them. And I did run for office once before, and that's what happened to me in that race. And we ran into somebody this morning who said, "I remember when you ran, and you've been running for office ever since." And I said, "No, that was actually the only time," but it made an impression on her.
Yeah.
And it was like that. People, I came to represent things to people, mostly positive, but not all positive. So this time I knew what I was getting into. This was the one thing that surprised me on the campaign trail. I went into one of the TV stations. They were profiling the candidates, and I was asked the following question by a journalist there. And he said, "Well, I've heard from some that it was sort of cheating, that you skip the Democratic primary and get to run in the general election. Don't you think that's a little unfair?" I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that there was some unfair advantage in running as a Green Party candidate before. I've been in some pretty tough situations in the past. In the 1990s, I was very involved in the environmental movement, both at the policy end and also lobbying, but also in terms of civil disobedience. Sarah and I met here through the anti-sweatshop movement. So there's another movement, not the environmental movement, but really the labor movement here and the student movement. And it's much more scary when you have riot police coming at you. And I shot Sarah in the back in Miami. She was a journalist for Pacifica. Those are much more frightening situations than dealing with legislators and with lobbyists. Not nervous about that.
You got shot in the back?
I got shot in the leg and in the back with rubber bullets in Miami. Tear gas several times. But I'm glad I was there because there was almost no media there besides, Amy Goodman and Free Speech Radio News.
Lindsay Lee.
And you're here tonight.
Well, I support Ben Manski for state assembly. I serve on the Dane County Democratic Party executive board.
Right.
And that does open me up to legitimate criticism for supporting someone who's not the Democrat in the race. But I think in this case, it's defensible. It's defensible.
Right, but have people been giving you hard times at meetings and stuff like that?
Surprisingly, no. Which probably says something. Don't make me say it. So.